When is an injury covered by workers' compensation insurance? A foundational question that we're going to answer today. Hi, Ryan Hanley here, founder and president of Rogue Risk, where we do insurance differently, specifically by giving you knowledge and information to make the right insurance decision. Now, when it comes to workers' compensation, one of the foundational questions of a workers' compensation policy and workers' compensation insurance in general is, when is an injury actually covered by your workers' compensation policy? All right, so there are five requirements that are necessary to be in place in order for an injury to be covered by workers' compensation. And some of these are going to be pretty straightforward. The first one is that person an employee of your company? Now, this is one that, while seems very simple and straightforward, can sometimes get conflated or confused. Employee doesn't technically mean an employee of your company, such as they are a W-2 employee. They could be 1099. They could be an uncovered subcontractor. A lot of what is an employee in terms of workers' compensation is often determined by the state. So actual employment for taxes and being considered an employee via a workers' compensation policy can be very different depending on the state. And in this case, just think someone has to pay workers' comp. So if you have an unlicensed or uninsured subcontractor working for you and they are doing similar work to what you do, a common example of this would be a builder who hires an uninsured carpenter. Well, carpentry is a big part of building houses. It is a task that could very likely be a W-2 or a standard 1099. And if that person is being subcontracted, especially if they don't have their own business license, their own licensing, their own signage, things like that, they're probably going to be considered an employee. But then, so basically, number one is the person is considered an employee under workers' compensation law, not standard or tax law. Okay, we need to be clear on that. Two, was there an actual injury or illness? Okay, was there actually an injury or illness? May seem simple, straightforward, but the second requirement is there must actually be an injury or illness. All right, the third, did it arise out of employment? So here's the difference. You go home on the weekend, or your employee goes home on the weekend, is playing football with his kid in the backyard and tears his ACL. Comes in, works for an hour, climbs up a ladder, climbs back down and says, "Hey boss, my knee hurts," goes to the doctor, and now you have what is perceived as a workers' compensation injury. In this case, if it is found that injury actually took place outside of the workplace, that is not a workers' compensation injury. That could be, in certain states, New York is one of these states, it could be a short-term disability issue, or if the person has an individual disability policy, or if you have a company-wide disability policy as a standard benefit, then they could cover it under that. But if it arises outside of employment, then it is not a workers' compensation issue. Okay, did the accident occur during the scope or course of their employment? Meaning, are they doing the actual job they're supposed to be doing? Again, let's say you have a basketball hoop out behind in the parking lot behind your warehouse, and people are shooting hoops, and a guy tears his ACL shooting hoops during lunchtime, even though on the job, at work, very difficult for that to be considered a workers' compensation claim. Has to be during the course and nature of the actual work that they're supposed to be doing. If they're doing something crazy, if they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing, and it's found that that's what happened, the company does have the ability to deny a claim or not covered under workers' compensation for those reasons. Last but not least, was there an actual impairment or loss of wages that was created because of this injury? So you have an employee who actually does sustain an injury. And an example we're using is an ACL tear. They can't, in this case, then go up ladders and do their job if that's in the course of their job. It did happen during the course of their job. So they were coming up and down a ladder and, twisted, whatever, tore that ACL, which has cost them to miss work, which has cost them to miss time. They have doctor's bills. In that case, there is an impairment, there is lost wages or lost compensation. And in this case, that ACL tear would be covered by workers' compensation. But if these five requirements are not met, workers' compensation does not respond. Okay, now the company always has the right to make their own decisions outside of what they're held legally obligated to and is in the contract. So the company can always come back and say, well, even though this may have happened while the person was walking to lunch, it happened inside the building, and we're going to cover it anyways. Okay, so there are situations like that. It doesn't mean everything is automatically denied, but these are the 5 key requirements that must be in place in order for workers' compensation to respond. If this kind of information and knowledge exchange is what you're looking for out of your insurance agent or insurance provider, we would love to work with you. At Rogue Risk, we pride ourselves in giving options to our customers, which means below this video, wherever this video is, you're going to find 2 links or buttons. One is going to be where you can go and actually quote your insurance yourself. You can quote your business owner's policy or GL, and you can quote your workers' compensation. You can get a quote. If you like that quote, you can bind it, have it issued, have it in your inbox within a matter of minutes, and we provide that option to you. If you would prefer to work with someone and actually talk to somebody on the phone and have them help you and walk you through the process, then there's a second option for that as well. And you can work with one of our licensed agents who have been trained in all the same philosophies that I'm sharing with you right now. You can also give us a call. Phone number is in the video and below. Or you can email us at gorogue@roguerisk.com. Whichever way you choose, we look forward to working with you.